It's Friday night. Well, Friday afternoon. It's the end of the work week. And I hope you're enjoying Afternoon Delight, my first week of Afternoon Delight. Hey, listen, I got some work to do. I got some improvements to make, but week one is in the books, and I hope that you guys have all enjoyed it. I did predict Thursday night football correctly, so I'm 1-0 so far. 1-0 so far for my picks. We do want to go over Thursday night football, but I want to preview everything that goes on for Sunday. Any and all questions will be answered. By the way, if you have a question that you weren't able to get answered, if you drop a comment in the YouTube video, I will answer that before Sunday's games. Also, you can DM me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, or X, and I will get back to it. For those of you who want to go old school, dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. I have my email set up directly to my phone, so I will get back to you. Any questions, I will get back to you before Sunday. Keep in mind, on Sundays, I shut my phone off, but I will be doing live play-by-play and reaction for the Chiefs-Bengals. It's 4:20 Eastern, 1:20 Pacific time that I will be live Sunday. On that show, I will stay on and answer everything. I've stayed on hours and hours and hours after a show. So, oh, look at this, man. Look at this. God, talk about strong start. Talk about you could not start off any better. I got the B and the Back Talk brothers. The great one. The talent. Gooch. Yes. Connor starts off fantasy football. Another good one. Ford or Christian Kirk PPR? That's a great question. Before I give you a great answer, let me go over that game here, because one of the things I found out is that I have an affiliation with BetUS, and one thing about BetUS is that they have an extensive injury report. That it's a lot better than ESPN's, and I was going through it. So here's the official. Well, I'm not calling it official. Here's BetUS. You have Myles Garrett up in the air if he plays against Jacksonville. That's a huge if, because if Myles Garrett's out, you may want to lean towards Christian Kirk. Za'Darius Smith is out. Joe Paterno, questionable. Miles Harden, he's a special teams guy. Juan Thornhill, okay, he's on injured reserve. Tomlinson, oh God, 2 starters. Alex Wright, Marvin Emerson is questionable as well. Oh Jesus, there's a lot of injuries. David Njoku is also questionable. Wow, there's a lot of injuries. Looking at Tyson Campbell is sidelined. He's questionable. Okay, so Christian Kirk was on the injury report against the Dolphins. He played Darnell Savage, Tyler Lacey, and Caleb Johnson. Okay. I'm going to level with you. Keep an eye out on the injury report. The reason why I say this is with some of the Browns injuries that are on the defensive line, you may want to lead towards Christian Kirk, but I'm going to level with you. I'm going to give you the old school answer. Anytime you have a running back versus a receiver, especially in a PPR league, you want to go ahead and go with the running back. The reason why is that you're in double dip. One thing with Christian Kirk is that there's a lot of weapons in Jacksonville. And I'm a Christian Kirk fan. I was a huge fan. Fun fact, Christian Kirk and Kyler Murray played together at Texas A&M. I remember watching them together at Texas A&M. I was a huge fan of Christian Kirk when he was a true freshman. Kyler Murray, he started his career at Texas A&M, and they were so much fun to watch. I've always been a big Christian Kirk fan. That said, I would always go with the running back because you have an opportunity. One thing about Ford is that he's probably going to get about 20 to 25 touches, where Christian Kirk's probably going to get, at maximum, he's getting 10, but more than likely you're looking at 5. You're probably going to get 4 times as many touches with Ford. Keep in mind, I'm not sold on. By the way, I'm not sold on the Jacksonville defense. I'm not sold on Jacksonville defense. I want to take a look at, because I should have this memorized, but I don't have Ford's numbers memorized. 12 for 44 and a touchdown. That's not terrible. 6 receptions, 25 yards. All right. So against Dallas in a blowout, he had 18 touches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. So, if you're going by last, and by the way, I think he'll do more against Jacksonville's defense. So I would definitely go with Christian Kirk in that situation. I would definitely go with Christian Kirk. That would be my choice. So Connor, keep me informed on how you're doing in your fantasy league, and best of luck this week. But yes, go with Ford. Keep in mind, Christian Kirk's a very solid guy, but but more than likely you're probably giving me your flex options. And if that's the case, then go ahead and go with Ford. I think you'll like that a lot better. I want to go back to Thursday night and talk about if you didn't see the game, this is your first time taking a look at anything that happened. Tua had a concussion. He was ruled out instant. You could tell if you didn't see the play. He put his head down, ran right into was it DeVar Hamlin, the guy that had that issue last year. Was it 2 years ago? No, it was 2 years ago. And really was in bad shape. He was down. You could tell he was down. Coaching staff ruled him out almost instantly. There's a lot of talk on social media. Should he retire? It's a legitimate question. One thing about head injuries is that once you get one, the number's insane. Once you get one, it's something like 80% more likely for you to get a second one. But when you get them constantly, then every time you get one, it's much, much more likely that you're going to go ahead and you're susceptible to another one. Another thing is that Tua lost some weight. He was doing all these drills so he could learn how to slide. While he's putting his head down, trying to run over a safety. That's not smart. He should just ran. He should just slid. I'm not insulting him. I'm not insulting him at all. It's just it was very obvious that I've been saying this for a while. It's very obvious that he's not a guy that you can rely on year in and year out. When I was looking at over-unders for passing yards, I was thinking you should take the Tua under and you should take the Caleb Williams under. This is why. I didn't have the Dolphins as a playoff team, partly because I don't count on Tua playing 17, and I'm not sold on their defense. By the way, the Dolphins defense didn't play bad. Give Anthony Weaver a lot of credit. He did just a fantastic job. And you may look at 31 points, but Tua threw 3 interceptions. I know one was a pick six, And then there was a fourth down play that the very next play, Cook scored a touchdown. So they went for it on a fourth, failed. Buffalo gets the ball back. Very next play, scores a touchdown. It's a 10-point swing. So, yeah. Hatters House 710. Go Lions. Matter of fact, that's a game I really want to talk about. Antoine Winfield is you know what? I was just reading about it. I'm going to double check here real fast. I was just reading it. I think Winfield is actually out. Antoine Winfield is out. And yeah, Kalijah Cansey's out. Antoine Winfield Jr.'s out. Starting right tackle Luke Gadji, he's out. Starting quarterback Zan McCallum, who was fifth-round pick last year, player I really liked out of Sam Houston State. Size-speed combination, just went to a small school. He has to clear concussion protocol. He may be out. One of my draft crushes, Logan Hall, who's just been injured almost his whole NFL career. He might also be out. The line for the Lions Bucks game started off at 7. It's now at 8. According to BetUS, it's still at 8, but it's even money. So that, and I don't remember if it was even money yesterday, but I know it's even money now. I'm kind of thinking maybe action's kind of wavering because 7 to 8's a massive jump, but now on the injury report, all these Bucks players being out. So had Love as my fantasy quarterback. McCaffrey was my number 1 pick, and Tua was my back. Oh man. Oh God, yeah, you got to pick somebody up. So the Miami Dolphins are going to pick up a veteran. More than likely, it will be Tannehill. Even though that's not official, I'm just assuming. I mean, he was a longtime starter there, longtime NFL backup, like a guy with starting experience. I also think he's a guy that could come in and be able to right that ship at least for a couple weeks. Skylar Thompson's a guy that I watched a lot at K-State. Athletic, decent arm. I don't think he's a guy that the Dolphins really want starting over several weeks. Yeah, one thing about McCaffrey, keep an eye. I don't think he's playing this week. That's up in the air. Keep in mind, Devin A-Chain, I'm getting that name wrong. He was questionable, and he had a massive game last night. And I was telling people, you want to be careful. You probably want to start Wilson instead. Wilson barely played. A-Chain blew up. Keep in mind, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're not too happy about that. But A-Chain had a phenomenal game. Yeah, if it's a PP, especially if it's a PPR league. But Hatters House 710, yeah, A-Chain blew up. And if you had Tua, he had a matter of fact, some leagues, if you throw a pick 6, it's a penalty. Other leagues, it's just interceptions. I don't know how yours is set up, but if you had if you more than likely Tua may have gotten you just 1 or 2 points. There's a chance he may have lost you points. Tua that's actually not terrible, to be honest with you. A-Chain probably blew up. A-Chain probably had 675. I was going to say 678. What kind of league are you in? But 675, yeah. A-Chain probably had over 20. If it's PPR league, if it's PPR league, he had over 20. That's no brainer. You're not in good shape. Like I said, Tannehill, once he signs with the Dolphins, 26, yeah, A-Chain, yeah, he had like 26. So you're down by 20. Keep in mind the rest of your team, the way it's set up, you're probably not in bad shape. Knock on wood. Hopefully you got a good running back besides McCaffrey. I'm not sold Jordan Mason's going to blow up like he did last week, but one thing I do want to point out also, and I want to hurry up and get this out before I forget. I was just reading Jordan Addison is out. Jordan Addison is out. I do also want to bring that up because one of the things about the about the Vikings 49ers game is that line dropped to 5. It was at 5.5. With Jordan Addison being out, I think this is a big plus for the 49ers because you pretty much just have to double cover Justin Jefferson. So okay, Addison's on your bench. Yeah, he's out. He's been ruled out. So yeah, you got some issues. You'll need to pick up a quarterback. I fully expect Tannehill to sign with the Miami Dolphins sooner than later. And we'll kind of see what happens going forward. But I think Tannehill will happen sooner than later. That's not a bad matchup. Picked up Derek Carr. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I was reading something online where somebody predicted that he'd go for over 300 against Dallas. I personally don't see that. And the reason why I don't see that is because there's some offensive line issues with the Saints. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. I think their starting guard is out. I fully expect the Saints to go into Dallas and lean on Alvin Kamara. Exactly. You started. Yeah, you can't start unless you're in some. I've heard some weird leagues. I knew one guy who was in a league where you start 2 quarterbacks every week, and I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, I don't get it. There's a lot of weird fantasy football leagues out there. So if you ever ask for fantasy football help, give me an idea. More people are in PPR leagues. I remember when fantasy football came out, PPR was kind of a relative unknown. Now PPR is kind of standard. For those of you who don't know, PPR stands for points per reception, which kind of leads towards receivers being a lot more valuable than running backs. But yeah, Derek Carr, somebody projected that he would have over 300 yards against Dallas this week. I don't see it personally. Yeah, I didn't know you're in SoCal. Oh my God! Yeah, I'm here in Vegas. I'm a Chiefs fan in Vegas, the only Chiefs fan in Vegas that exists. So, but I'm new to the area. But yeah, PPR is kind of a new standard. But when I first started out doing fantasy football, PPR was not a standard. I had no idea. I had no idea. I had no idea. I'm the only Chiefs fan in Vegas. Yeah, I'm not trying to advertise it either. Raiders fans are a different type of breed. I know several 49ers fans, and they're just awful. 49ers fans are terrible. Yeah. Yeah, basically PPR is kind of standard across the board. PPR is kind of standard across the board. So when you unless you have a fantasy league that's a little different, when you say that you're in a fantasy league or you ask for fantasy football questions, I'm going to assume you're in a PPR. Even though it's a little unusual, what I usually still assume, and I say this all the time, if you're in a PPR and you got 3 down back, and earlier the question was Jerome Ford or Christian Kirk, I'll always go with the running back over the receiver unless it's a guy that's kind of splitting time against a legitimate number one. But in this one, I will always go with the running back. So that is really cool. That is really cool. I had no idea you're in LA. A Lions fan in LA. That is awesome. That is awesome. And by the way, I mean, I do want to talk about that. I just found out that Winfield, who I think might be the best free safety in football, the way they use them, they don't really have a free safety and a strong safety in the Todd Bowles defense. He's probably the best safety in football, and he's out. So that's a big deal. Whole family is Rams Raiders fans. Oh God. Well, they were mad at you last week. The ones that are Rams fans. The ones that are Raiders fans. Yeah. Did you give a prediction on Lions Bucks? Well, I mean, if you check out the video that I did, by the way, if you haven't watched the video, it's a fantastic video. I urge you to check it out. I've been keeping the videos for my picks relatively short. That way you can kind of go through it. I have some neat graphics on it. I think they're pretty good videos. But I don't go through a lot of detail. However, if you want some more detail, you can ask about it here, because I do want to go over that game in a little more detail, because I was really at Hatter's House 7. Yeah, check it out. It's a great video. I originally said that I liked Detroit to win. I thought Tampa Bay would cover, but I was fully expecting Antoine Winfield to play. He is not. You also have multiple defensive backs out for Tampa Bay besides your best one. And Zian McCallum, this was the guy I really liked. It was kind of funny. It was Joshua Williams, Zian McCallum, and the guy Tariq Woolen. 2 years ago, these were three small school, big, strong, fast, athletic corners that people were talking about. Joshua Williams, I think it was Fayetteville State. He was a 4th round pick by Kansas City. I thought he'd be the starter, but he's not. He is playing some. Zian McCollum, 5th year pick, and then Tariq Woolen, 5th round pick. I'm sorry. And Tariq Woolen, as a rookie, went to the Pro Bowl last year. He got benched. So it was 3 years ago. But I mean, you had these athletic corners that were very impressive in the Senior Bowl that went to small schools, but strong, big, fast, guys that I thought whoever got either one of these guys would have really good players. So far, Tariq Woolen went to a Pro Bowl as a rookie last year. He got benched. I don't know how he played week 1. Zian McCollum's the guy that they're leaning on to start, and Joshua Williams in Kansas City is somebody who I am very high on, but's been playing so. But when you get a 4th round pick, by the way, yes, don't text and drive. But thank you very much for listening. I have a few buddies of mine that listen to the show on the rebroadcast, so I try to make the show kind of like a podcast format. So that when you're driving while you're at work, that's why I call it Afternoon Delight, is because the whole point, the point of Afternoon Delight is that, hey, look, it's I'm here in Vegas, so it's 1 o'clock my time. If you're on the East Coast, like my buddy Denver Gator, it's 4 o'clock, but it gives you kind of a break from a day at work. And hopefully you tune in, and hopefully you get kicked out of the show. But the idea of it is to have it be something that you can listen to while you're at work. Speaking of Denver Gator, the after night is cool if you're a nerd. So I guess it's cool. Yeah, I was trying. I didn't know what to do. This is something I wanted to do for a while. I'm very happy I got 1 week down. I had no idea fantasy football was going to be such a big talking point. So going forward, Wednesdays and Thursdays are going to be fantasy football. I'll do, Monday will be kind of a review, and Tuesday and Friday will be a preview. Hopefully I'll have some guests on during the week. So I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, we're going to do a lot more fantasy football stuff from now on. Trey Lucado. Hopefully I get that name right, man. What's up, everyone? Also, I just hope Tua will be okay after what happened last night. I'm gonna I want to recap on that. Again, this is something I don't know if you guys remember, but Pete from Pete's Takes joined a chat last week, and Pete was adamant that signing Tua long term would be a disaster. I agreed on that. If you watch my AFC East preview video, I point out that if Tua does start 17 games, the Dolphins are a playoff team, but I don't think he will. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, he had some real nasty concussions. Once you get one, it's so much easier to get a second one. Once you get two or three, it's a lot easier to get that fourth or fifth one. I know Dolphins fans and media are saying that you shouldn't bring up retirement. We'll just kind of go week by week, etc. No, you have to think retirement at this time. You absolutely have to think retirement at this time. Multiple reasons why. Number one, he's obviously more susceptible to a head injury than he was before. That's not in question. Number two, late in the game, why was he putting his head down trying to fight for extra yards? Every other NFL quarterback knows in that situation you should be sliding. So even though he's had multiple head injuries, he didn't know. Remember all that talk in the offseason about how he lost weight and he's going to be more mobile, and how he was what was he taking, Taekwondo or something? So he was taking Taekwondo so he could learn how to fall. And what happens in a game that they're not in? I mean, let's be very honest. They weren't in that game. The score is 31-10. It was late in the third quarter. Can you come back from 3 touchdowns in a quarter? Absolutely you can. The Dolphins were not coming back from that game. The Buffalo Bills came prepared. Andre asked, do you think he should retire, Dan? Yes, 100%. There is no reason. You are much more susceptible to having a head injury once you already have several. Once you get one, you're much more likely to have two. Once you have two, you're much more likely to have three. Once you have 3, and this is now official, this is the 4th time in his career. 4th time in his career. And here's the drill. He not only is he much more susceptible, what happened when he was in a situation where he got the first down by several yards? What was his initial reaction? What was his gut instinct? To put his head down and to battle for what? What was he really? Is he really running over DeMar Hamlin? Is that what he's thinking? Is he thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to run over this strong safety to get another 2 yards? That's what his initial reaction was. You know what 31 other NFL quarterbacks do in that situation? They fall down. They fall down. Yeah, I thought Keon Coleman was going to score. Keon Coleman, I thought, was going to score. And he got shut out. So thank God you didn't start him. So I apologize. You're 100% correct. And I know, I've said this many, many times. If I had a daughter, I would want her to date Tua. But if I'm an NFL franchise, I would not want Tua as my quarterback because I don't trust him to stay healthy. If I was Tua, so listen up, Tua, if you're watching, if you're listening, please retire. You have more than enough money. You have more than enough money with that contract. If he walks away today, the Dolphins pay him, I think it's something like $93 million or something crazy like that. You have multi-generational wealth. Another thing is that I can't prove this, but I have a feeling Tua would be fantastic on TV. Do you guys remember? You guys remember a player played briefly in Miami, but played a long time in Kansas City, Trent Green? I remember Trent Green had a nasty concussion. It was one of the nastiest ones. His head bounced. It bounced off of the Arrowhead ground like a basketball. I mean, it was bad. He was on the ground for a long time. Came back. I tried to pretend that he was the best option. He really wasn't. Ended up with several other concussions. Finally retired. He does TV. Does TV for the Chiefs, and he's amazing. I don't think he does like the national games. He's not on Tony Romo's level, but he did a good job. Tony Romo injuries. Dak Prescott's fantastic play. Went to the booth. Phenomenal. Tony Romo, I think, is just amazing. But if you're Tua, please retire. You have multi-generational wealth. Having a limited exposure to Alzheimer's, and I know it's like not exactly apples to oranges, but I would rather have like a broken arm than like a concussion. Or I mean, you have to understand. There's a lot of there was a Chris Miller. He had something like 8 or 9 concussions in his lifetime. He said that he used to carry around a card, and in his wallet, and his card would have his name, his phone number, his address, because there'd be like spots that would be missing in his brain. He said sometimes he'd driving along and like just forget everything. Please don't mess around. Listen, you're a good player. You've made multi-generational money. What bothered me more than anything, and this is going to sound really, really, really nuts, it bothers me that here you are in a game that you weren't gonna win. Okay, I've seen teams that are down and that can fight back. I remember last year, or was it last year or the year before, Minnesota was down by 38 at halftime, came back and won. It was an NFL record. I think it was 38. The difference is that Minnesota had the ability to move the ball. The Dolphins were just having problems. The Bills were ready to play. The Bills, by the way, could have put up another couple touchdowns relatively easy. They pulled the reins up. But it bothered me that 31 other NFL quarterbacks would have known to fall down. There was no point in him trying to run over a strong safety. By the way, let's just say he breaks the tackle right there. Let's say he's Josh Allen, which Tua, by the way, lost weight. So when you lose weight and you're trying to be quicker, you don't put your head down, try to run over a safety. But let's just say he did run over a safety. He wasn't scoring. There was a 0% chance that he was scoring. His actions indicate that. I mean, lots of football players are like that, but NFL quarterbacks are taught to slide. It's not in his lexicon. It's not in his natural instincts to just go down, even though that's what he worked on all off season. That's why he lost the weight after concussions. This is something. It's kind of funny if you watched Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears, and it was kind of a joke, but kind of fun. But it was also serious. What the quarterback room, they had the 4 quarterbacks. They all got a slip and slide, and they all took turns on the slip and slide, practicing the slide. Sounds silly. It sounds stupid, but when you're an NFL quarterback, you're taught to get down. I remember Hard Knocks. Ryan Tannehill, his rookie season, threw an interception. I think it was in a preseason game or in a practice. It may have been in a practice, and he's trying to chase down the defensive back. Jake Long, the starting tackle, comes up to him. He goes, "Hey, man, that was a great hustle. Don't ever do that again." And then this coaching staff came up to him and said, yeah, you throw an interception, you don't chase the guy down. You're a starting quarterback. You're a rookie. Now, keep in mind, Tannehill played receiver at Texas A&M before he became the starting quarterback, so he's a very athletic dude. So he was just trying to make a football play. But I'll never forget Jake Long saying, you don't do that ever again. And by the way, I remember like he threw an interception and he just kind of, he didn't chase the dude down. I know that not all NFL quarterbacks do that, but every single NFL quarterback would know to get down. So Denver Gators right, fourth time in 2 years. It's a dangerous line. It's a dangerous line. JK Cruising 7-1. What's up, brother? Hello, Dan. Tua should hang up those cleats if I was him, for real, for real. Yeah. Listen, you have multi-generational wealth. I don't know the exact numbers, but I've been watching football for a long time, and it just gets to a point that when you have multiple concussions, you're just much more susceptible. It's all it is. Once you have several in a row, you get hit, you get a concussion, and he's to a point that every single time, let's say he comes back this year, or let's say he comes back in 2025, every single time he gets hit, everybody, his team, opponents, fans, family are going to wonder, hey, are you hurt? Do you have a concussion? And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You have multi-generational wealth. You're set for life. I also think Tua would be fantastic on TV. I really do. I think he'd be great on TV. I think he'd be entertaining. Andre points out in his concussions, like, oh yeah, his concussions, like seriously, like it was funny. I normally don't quote from other people's accounts, but Mitchell Schwartz, former Kansas City Chiefs, a guy I love on Instagram or Twitter. Mitchell Schwartz came on and it said 6 minutes to determine if he had a concussion. I mean, I knew in 6 seconds he wasn't. He's like, what were they doing? And then there's, was it a back injury again? And it looked bad. And it looked bad right away. If you're Tua, I'm going to keep saying this, listen to if anybody, I know Tua's not watching. I mean, I'd be awesome if he was, but anybody who's related to Miami or, nobody knows Tua or somebody can get a hold of Tua, please hang up the cleats, retire. It's really not worth it. You have multi-generational wealth. I think he would be great on TV. I really do. I think he would be great on TV, but you never know. I mean, a lot of players want to go into coaching. A lot of players want to go into obscurity. I know Phillip Rivers is coaching high school football. I don't know if you remember Eddie George. I know Eddie George, I apologize. He was coaching high school. He's now coaching, I think it's Tennessee State. It's a small college program, but it wouldn't surprise me if Eddie George hits like the major college ranks. And really, really awesome dude. But yeah. Perry, what's up, brother, man? God, I was hoping you would be here. Perry says Miami will regret signing to it. It was funny. Pete with Pete's takes. He's a Dolphins fan, and he kept on. He was getting a lot of grief because he was telling people that, look, Tua's not the long-term deal. You shouldn't sign him. He was pushing for the Dolphins. He was pushing for the Dolphins to draft Michael Penix Jr. So, we were talking about like Penix. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but we were talking about Michael Penix Jr. Being somebody that you may not want to, that you may want to draft, and the Dolphins were kind of a dark horse that he would go to. And there was a lot of talk about Miami using their first round pick on a quarterback if one of them slid. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen in this draft, but I think the Dolphins are going to regret it. I mean, here's the deal. There is a 0% chance if Tua comes back that players on both sides of the ball are going to worry about him getting another concussion. If he comes back this year or even next year, let's just say he's out for the whole year. I'll throw out an old time name. Do you remember? Oh crap, I forgot his name. Frank Gifford. How many of you remember Frank Gifford? Frank Gifford was laid out by Concrete Charlie. It was on the cover of a Time magazine. You standing above. Back then, you knocked a player out. It was a good thing. He sat out for a whole year, switched positions in the Pro Football of Fame. But I had a concussion. This was in 1960. Had a concussion, knocked him out for a whole year, came back. It wouldn't surprise me if Tua's out for the whole year, tries to come back in 2025. But every time he gets hit, fans play. Here's the thing. If he gets hit, let's just say Dolphins' first game of the season's at, I don't know, Cincinnati or whatever. Let's say they play in Cincinnati, right? And he gets hit and he gets hit hard. Bengals fans are going to be worried and afraid that he has a concussion. All right. Let's say first game of the season, it's San Francisco and he gets hit. San Francisco 49ers fans are going to worry and wonder, hey, is Tua knocked out? Does he have a concussion? It's that obvious. And Miami is going to regret it. They're on the hook no matter what. If they force him back into playing, they're going to look bad. It's not a good thing. Denver Gator, this is a great point. It's something I should have brought up. His hand seized up, not for the first time. Signs of severe brain damage, from what I understand. If Tua retires and goes to the booth, he could be the face of the NFL concussion protocol, being a voice. God, why couldn't I say something like this? Denver Gator Denver Gator sent me a soundbite. You're on fire, and I should play it right now. Denver Gator. I really, really should play it right now because you're completely on fire. He should 100% go to the booth, be a face for the NFL, be a face for concussion protocol, and being a voice. This would be a big deal. And here's a drill. There's a lot of NFL players that will tell you, former and current. Well, the current ones will tell you this. There's a lot of players that aren't Tua. There's a lot of like second, third string guys that get a concussion, and they know that they have to power through it, because if they don't, they could get cut. If you're a starter and you get a concussion, if you're somebody like Tua and you get a concussion, you don't have to worry about it. That third string linebacker who's playing special teams, he gets a concussion. He is avoiding everybody and knows that he has to play through it or else he'll get cut. And there's a lot of former players will tell you that. Current players will tell you that, whether they'll want to admit it or not. But that's just the way things go. It sounds mean a lot. Some of you may not believe me, but that's the truth. If you're not a superstar and you get a concussion, you will try to hide it. That's why a lot of players play through injury. A lot of people think like, oh, I got a concussion, I got to play through it. Watch Last Chance U. If you ever get a chance, watch Last Chance U was great. The final football season, there was a center. He had a severe, I think it was an arm or a chest injury, and he wanted to play through it because he was living in a trailer with his dad. His dad had some illness or something, and he was just trying to get a scholarship so he get, afford to get a decent place to live. There was a player who, when they went to California, he ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Miami. By the way, really cool story. He was living in his car. He had an SUV. He was living in his car. So I mean, getting to the NFL and even you're a third string dude, you get a concussion, you play through it because you feel like you have to. I get that. You get a guy like Tua who comes out and he could be a voice. He can go against that. Denver Gator, you're on fire, brother. But yeah, you're right. Tua is to snake bite. Oh yeah. Miami Dolphins snake bitten. Perry says Miami is done for the season. It's best for Miami to suck and get a top pick for their quarterback. It's a damn shame because they feel like they're a playoff team because they got those two elite receivers. Devin Archain is what a great game he had. You had Moser who barely played. Drawing a blank on their starting running back who had 21 total touchdowns, 18 touchdowns last year. He was injured when he comes back. Chop Robinson, who was Miami's first round pick in last year's draft, just you can see the speed, you can see the athleticism. There's some really, really, really good things with Miami. Perry, do you remember I think it was 5 years ago. Do you remember the tank for Tua? Do you remember the tank for Tua talk? Do you remember Miami? Do you remember Miami came in and was just they got rid of Teron Armstead. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't the player. I'm sorry. They got rid of Laramie Tunzel. Remember, they got rid of Laramie Tunzel. He was like, I think the 11th or 10th pick over, somewhere between 10 and 12. They got rid of him. They got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick. Brian Flores was there, and they were just getting rid of guys left and right. They were getting all these draft picks, and everybody's saying, "Oh, they're tanking for Tua. They're tanking for Tua." By the way, they should have took Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert was the pick after. No one pick in the draft that year was actually Joe Burrow. Do you remember the tank for Tua? You remember all of that? I've never believed it's a good idea to tank. What they Lions fans said tank for Tua. You remember it? Please don't tell me you're texting and driving. Hatters House 710 is at a red light, completely stopped, or in a parking lot for this. So yeah. Lots of fan bases were saying tank for Tua. I've never believed it's a good job to tank. By the way, Kansas City, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes, had the 27th pick in the draft. They had to go from 27 to 10. Thank you, Buffalo. The gift that keeps on giving, the Buffalo Bills. I would not advise that at all, but you got to hit on your quarterback if you draft them high. If you draft a quarterback high and you mess up, kudos, by the way, kudos or boos, depending on how you want to look at it, for kudos for the Eagles getting rid of Carson Wentz. Kudos to the 49ers for getting rid of Trey Lance. It looks like a good move. I don't know. I don't know why, or I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for Pittsburgh to move on. I had his name, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett. Remember, they moved on from Kenny Pickett really fast. Mac Jones, they moved on from Mac Jones very fast. So, yeah. Got some great questions here. BD Buster, what's up? Just getting in. I got Keaton from Keaton Talk Sports. Yes. What's up, Dan? Tua needs to retire. It's being his fourth concussion. All blames goes to Miami medical staff for putting him out there in that Bengals game. And dude, that was awful. I remember that, and that was awful. That was absolutely terrible. George plays 0-1, a non-PPR league. This is interesting. Should I trade Gibbs, Brian Robinson, and Waddle for CMC and Collins, a non-PPR league? Boy, that I would say in a non-PPR league, usually as a general rule of thumb, you let me ask you this here, Joe. Okay, my initial reaction reaction is no, and the reason why I say that is that while Gibbs in a non-PPR doesn't offer you as much value, I like Brian Robinson quite a bit. Let me double check the numbers here, but Brian Robinson is going to be the main bell cow in Washington, and the way that they're going to use Austin Eckler is much more like a slot receiver. And I want to take a look at now. Keep in mind that the numbers are going to be skewered because Jaden Daniels decided that he thinks he's back in the SEC. But Brian Robinson Jr., 12 carries, 40 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions. I didn't know he was second on the team in receptions. Austin Eckler, 2 carries, 4 receptions. So that they kind of confirm it. And by the way, Jaden Daniels is not going to run 16 times for 88 yards, hopefully ever again. But Brian Robinson is going to be the main bell cow running back in Washington. Okay. So CMC, odds are he's not going to play this year. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, without Tua, I don't know if maybe I want to get rid of Waddle. I would hold on to Waddle. And the reason why I say that is that who's the number one weapon for the Miami Dolphins? It's Tyreek Hill. If you're playing against the Miami Dolphins, I don't know who they're playing week 3. I should know this, but I don't know who they're playing next week. Whoever's playing against Miami next week is going to be thinking to themselves, hey, listen, I'm going to triple cover Tyreek Hill. And number 2 will be Waddle, but who are you putting your number 1 guy on? You're putting on Tyreek Hill. Collins is the number 1 guy, but Diggs is getting a lot of attention. Of course, Joe Mixon had a great week 1. Unless you got I was going to say, unless you have another running back on your roster that is just absolutely awesome, Gibbs in a non-PPR doesn't have as much value, but Brian Robinson's a dude who I think will go over 1,000 yards. And I really would hold on to him because the thing is with CMC, I don't think he's going to play next week. Devin Archain was questionable, had a great game. On Monday or on Thursday night, Devin Archain had a fantastic game. That said, he was questionable. I was trying to advise people not to start him. Also, I think that's kind of I don't think Achain's gonna. Achain will have 1 or 2 games that way, but I think that once drawing a blank on the starting running back's name in Miami. Once he comes back, Achain will kind of go off to the side. Another thing about Achain is that he missed a lot of games last year. He looks like he put on what I call the NFL 20. And what if George plays 0-1, I'm going to assume that you've never. I say NFL 20 almost every live stream. What it is that when you come out of college and you get into the NFL, you put on what I call the NFL 20. Or either lose or gain 20 pounds, most of the time gain. And Achain coming out of college, I think he was about 190. He looked like he's about 205, 210. I don't see him as a guy that's going to be a 25 touch guy on a weekly basis and not break down because he was used very sparingly last year and he missed a ton of injuries, but it looks like he's put on some weight, looks a little bigger. Point being, I would not recommend this move unless you just have an abundance of running backs. Gibbs doesn't have as much value. Brian Robinson does. Brian Robinson did have a touchdown last week. CMC, of course, had nothing. Waddle, I think will go over 1,000 yards. Collins could be a star. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Collins could be a star. In Miami, you do have a questionable quarterback situation now. So I get why somebody offered you that or why you thought about it. But the only way I would make this move, is if you got another stud running back. And then keep in mind, it looks like, from what I'm hearing, it doesn't look like CMC is going to play this week. It doesn't look like he's going to play this week. So, and I want to get back, because one thing BetUS did, and I completely forgot where I had that at. There was a BetUS had a really great injury report that I was looking at. It was one of the best injury reports. It's much better than ESPN's, and it went into a lot more detail. Of course, people that are betting on games have a little more invested into it than people that aren't betting on games. But they had a really good injury report. And I literally had it pulled up, and I forgot where I put it at. I want to take a look at that real fast if I can find it. And like a dummy, I can't. I dropped the ball in the live stream. I literally had the injury reports pulled up for every single game, and I was looking through it. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why I can't find it. So this is driving me nuts. I'm trying to help you guys with your fantasy football leagues, and trying to help out in winning some money. And here I am. I just dropped the ball. Dropped the ball on you guys. But unless your running back situation is really, really, really good, and you're just trying to hit a home run with CMC, which I get, I would not make this move. Brian Robinson will go over 1,000 this year. Gibbs has the potential to go over 1,000. I think he has a lot more value in the PPR league. So I don't make this move. So George, amen. By the way, this is a great question. This is kind of the reason why I started this show, is that I wanted to interact and answer questions, help people out. And, if nothing else, I'm a sounding board for you. So let me know how things go. And I hope I hear from you Monday when you're bragging about how much you won or how much you dominated in your fantasy leagues. That's really important. Denver Gator comments, it's so cool with the afternoon delight. To see your audience grow because of fantasy football. Love hearing about the trades and the I know, isn't it fun? I've been wanting to do fantasy football for a long time. I've been wanting to do afternoon delight for a long time. Guys, we are at the top of 1 hour. 1 hour is in the books. I'm going to take a very, very fast commercial break. When I come back, I'm bringing you 2 more hours of afternoon delight. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, host of Dan Talks Football, and my award-winning NFL Weekly Picks video has been released. Now, don't watch it now. This is just a commercial break. I have to pee or something, but make sure you watch it at least twice. If you watch it 5 times, you win $1 million. Wait, I'm not allowed to say that? Oh, I can say it. I just can't mean it. Well, okay. Look, make sure you watch it. It's a great video, and I do mean that. Dan Talks Football has teamed up with BetUS. Do you want to do some sports betting? Check out BetUS and all the options for bonuses it gives you. I used a 20% bonus on my first $100 deposit and made it $120. You can check out the video in the description below. Use the promo code and take advantage of all the bonuses BetUS provides during football season. All right. Yes. Yeah. God, I'm jacked up today. God, I am very, very jacked up, man. Very, very, very jacked up. What a great week, and I'm really glad to do fantasy football, sports betting, prop bets, anything, everything. Any questions that I don't get to on today's show, please drop a comment and I will respond to any comments, questions, suggestions, anything before Sunday. If you have questions, sports betting, fantasy football on Saturday, I will respond. Keep in mind, late Saturday night, up until the Chiefs game, I usually keep my phone off. I will be doing live play-by-play and reaction for the Chiefs-Bengals game. That is 4:20 on the East Coast, 1:20 here Vegas time. But I'll have my phone shut off. So if you hit me up Sunday trying to get some fantasy football or betting advice, I won't get to you. But Saturday night, depending on where you're at in the country, basically it will be more like Sunday morning I'm available. So if you need some help, sports betting, fantasy, I'm available. But Sunday morning, right before a game, I will be not available. So just give me a heads up. Oh man, God, yeah. Oh, look at Denver. God, Denver Gators on fire. Denver Gators on fire. I am sure Russell Wilson could be a head cheap from the Steelers if Miami needs a quarterback fast. That would actually be, seriously, that would be a great idea. Perry's on fire as well. I could see Carson Wentz from Kansas City being another guy, but I'm telling you right now, I don't see Kansas City wanting to make a move. Blaine Gabbert, who was the Chiefs' backup quarterback last year, I don't think is on the roster. I'm letting you know right now, I 100% expect Ryan Tannehill to be signed within the next couple of days. I think seriously. It may happen as soon as today, but I've been saying this for a while. I know a lot of people believe that Russell Wilson will start week 3. I am not sold on that. If I'm Pittsburgh, I run with Justin Fields, and I would try to sign Teddy. If I'm Pittsburgh, I would move Russell Wilson fast. I would 100% move. And by the way, if I'm Russell Wilson, I would much rather be in my. By the way, Russell Wilson in Miami makes a lot more sense than Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson in Miami makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's got a better deep ball. I think he can operate that offense. I think it'd make a lot more sense. Arthur Smith, I'm not really sure what. I think he was just trying to put some things together in Atlanta, but Arthur Smith was the former Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator. He was there when they had Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota, another Hawaii quarterback that could run really, really, really well. They had to bench him and start Tannehill. Tannehill, of course, played a little wide receiver at Texas A&M before he became the starting quarterback. He was that good of an athlete. Him coming to Pittsburgh, it makes more sense for him to have Justin Fields than it does to have a 36-year-old Russell Wilson who's on his last legs. Miami, on the other hand, that offense, I think Russell Wilson fit like a hand in a glove. It really would. I would overpay the Steelers, and I say overpay. I would give up a fifth or a fourth and get Russell Wilson as fast as possible. And seriously, the good thing is about like Russell Wilson is that, let's just say Tua, which I hope doesn't happen. I want to be very clear. I don't want to see this happen. Let's just say Russell Wilson, or I'm sorry, let's just say Tua comes back. I'd rather have Russell Wilson on the bench than Skylar Thompson. But there's a lot of people that like Skylar Thompson. I watched him play at K-State. I like him. He's athletic. But if I can get Russell Wilson, yeah, that's a great – Perry's on fire today, man. Yeah, the Dolphins are cursed. It was, seriously, it was a shame. I remember when they lost to San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I think it's Super Bowl 19. It was in 1984. Marino had all those crazy statistics, and it just seemed obvious that the Dolphins were going to come back to a Super Bowl. I mean, you get this superstar quarterback that arguably the greatest pass. I think Marino did have the greatest passing season of all time in 84. He really did. 5,000, nobody thought 5,000 was possible. Nobody went over 40 touchdowns. Marino had 5105 and 48. Nobody threw for 5,000 before Marino. Nobody threw for over 40, and Marino just took the records, threw them in the trash. Said, who cares? Don Shula, who was a run-first coach for the previous 20 years. I mean, he was a head coach of the Colts in Super Bowl III, almost 20 years. Came to Miami a couple of years later when they won Super Bowl 7 and 8. I think it was when they won Super Bowl 8. They had over 2,900 rushing yards. They averaged over 200 yards a game. I think it was like an NFL record for a while. And then the O.J. Simpson Bills went over 3,000 yards rushing. So, but Don Shula, longtime running coach, he gets Dan Marino. He's like, screw this. I got Marino. Let's just throw the ball everywhere. It was really nobody realized how weird that was. After they get to that Super Bowl, after that season, they never got back. I kept on saying for years, it was really weird because like in the 80s and even early 90s, they had all this talent. Dan Marino's final game in the NFL. Do you know what his final game in the NFL? Do you know what happened? It was a playoff loss to Jacksonville, and the game was so bad the sprinklers came on. True story. They lost 62-7. Dan Marino's and Jimmy Johnson's last year in last game in the NFL, 62-7 loss. In the third quarter, the sprinklers come on. They had to like delay the game and do all sorts of crap. Yeah. Do you like the Patriots' chances to pull off back-to-back upsets? Andre, please check out my weekly picks video if you don't believe me. But I picked the Patriots to pull off an upset this week. So the answer is yes. Right now, the Patriots are a 3-point home dog. So as a general thumb, I'm going to make sure I'm on. Okay, so BetUS does Eastern time, so I just wanted to verify it before I say it. A West Coast team traveling to the East Coast for an early game, you always have a minor advantage. As a general rule of thumb, now I remember last year San Francisco traveled to Pittsburgh week 1 and won like 37-10, and it wasn't even competitive. And then San Francisco, I think, played I want to say the Giants or the Jets and just dominated them. But as a general thumb, when a West Coast team travels to the East Coast to play an early game, it's usually a little bit of a struggle. The line was 3.5. I like the Patriots to win this game. I like the Patriots to win this game outright. And I'll tell you why. I know that, was it Tom McDonald? No, I forget his first name, but McDonald, he was the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator before he took over at Seattle. I know a lot of people think like his defense is going to be great. He's going to be amazing. I'm not so sure. I know they beat Bo Nix and a rookie quarterback, and I get that. I get that. I'm not sold on it. I wish, I don't know what happened. I was looking through BetUS, which I had this. They were showing the injury report, which is much better than ESPN's injury report. I was trying to go through each team. I lost it. I have no idea where it is. Here I am live trying to read off something at a website I found. Then I lose the information because, hey, look, I just have great hair. I'm not smart. So anyway, yeah, I like the Patriots' chances a lot. I picked them in my weekly picks video. Andre, please check it out. It's not very long. I decided this year that I was going to make my picks videos. I was going to try to keep each one under 10 minutes. I think this one's like 5 or 6. And then if you want more information about each game, hit me up on Afternoon Delight. I may do a video on each game, put it in a little more detail, go over fantasy football prop bets, or just betting in general. Right now, dude, it's just a time constrained issue of being able to do that. So what I do is on Sunday and Monday, I kind of put the video together, release it Tuesday morning. That way you can check it out before Afternoon Delight. It's a really good video, but I picked New England, and I do like New England. I like New England here. Keep in mind, one of the things I like is that I'm not sold on the Patriots offensive line. I'm not sold on Seattle having a really good defense. I think Seattle's front 7 might not be very good. One thing that is good is the New England front 7, and there are some injury issues on Seattle's offensive line. Denver wasn't able to take advantage of it. I think New England will. I didn't put any of this in the video, by the way, but the reason why I really like New England, I like New England's front 7, which did a phenomenal job against Cincinnati. I really think that they can put a same type of performance on Seattle. And I keep in mind, Cincinnati starts off the season slow. Higgins has been in and out of the lineup. Jamar Chase in and out of the lineup. Barely reported to camp. Seattle has 3 very, very talented receivers. They have a new offense coming from college, so I expect them to have a little more success. But the reason why I really like the Patriots in this game is I do expect a low scoring game. The over-under 38.5. That they nailed it, by the way, having the number be under 40, because I do think it's going to be a low scoring game. The higher scoring the game, the better it is for Seattle. But that front 7 is going to cause problems. The New England front 7 is going to cause problems for Seattle. But yeah, I really like it. You know what? Give the Bills a lot of credit. Give the Bills a lot of credit. Oh, okay. So George says he has Barkley and Jordan. Well, Barkley is your running back number 1. So Barkley is your running back number 1. So if you would be getting, if I remember right, you would be getting CMC. So you have CMC and you have Jordan Mason. Let me go back to this, see if I can find it. Or is it? I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, so you have Barkley and Mason. So you want to get CMC and Collins. Since you have a Barkley's in number one, this is a little different because Barkley's your running back number one. Barkley is much more valuable in a PPR. But having the opportunity to have Barkley and CMC starting, and you have another, who's your other running back? Jordan Mason, and then you also have Jordan Mason. I actually do like that. Yeah, in this situation, I would say yeah. And the reason why is that now I'm gonna let you know right now, Brian Robinson's going over 1,000. I'm gonna let you know that right now. But I like Collins more than I like Waddle, but I think Waddle still will be 1,000-yard receiver. So you're giving up some good players. I want to be very clear about that. You are giving up some good players, but in your situation, you have, where was it? But in your situation, you have Saquon Barkley. He's your running back number one, period. But in that situation, you would upgrade your receiver. And then you would also, since you have Jordan Mason, since you got CMC's backup, I do like that. I mean, yeah, you end up with 2 stud number one running backs. So yeah, I do like that trade. I was really impressed with the way Buffalo came down there, and they were commenting about this during the game is because there was like 10 minutes left in the game, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were just sitting down on the bench, just laughing and joking. They weren't engaged in the game. They weren't talking to anybody. They were just sitting on the bench, just goofing off. And Kirk Herbstreit was kind of like, you kind of want to see them more involved. I forget who the other guy was off the top of my head. He commented, well, this is what happens when you're down by 3 touchdowns. And Kirk Herbstreit did a lot of college where, the NFL and college is different because, the NFL is a business. These are professional. These are multimillionaires. These, guys got families and lives. And when you hit the NFL, when you hit the NFL, especially if you're a starting caliber player, you have to consider yourself a business. You have to consider yourself like a business. So you conduct yourself better than a student athlete. Of course, that's changing with the NIL. So, but bottom line, Kirk Herbstreit had a good point that the Finns, the way they were acting on the sidelines, they weren't really engaged. The Bills came down ready to play. Bottom line, let's just have some fun here. Let's just say Tua doesn't put his head down. Let's just say he slides. 1 or 2 plays later, they score a touchdown to make it 31-17. Let's just say they make it 31-17. There was still no chance that they were going to win that game. Buffalo's offense was able to move the ball. I know they had an opportunity to score again. They didn't do it. I'm not mad at them. Buffalo, they would have been able to move the ball. The defense would have been able to stop Miami again. They had a great game plan. And they did exactly what if you watch yesterday, I said the same thing, that what they're going to do is the old way that you played against Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. You put 2 safeties in the parking lot. You go up and down the field, and then sooner or later you're going to force a turnover, or you stop them. And the way that the Miami Dolphins were playing, they even if they made it 31-17, they weren't going to win that game. The Bills really came ready to play. They had a great game plan. They were prepared on a short week. Josh Allen, it's something crazy. He's like 12-1 or 13-1 or 14-1. I forget the exact stat, but he's only lost once. I think the stats now 14-1 against Miami. It's something crazy. It's something absolutely crazy. So, but yeah, the Buffalo Bills did a fantastic job coming into Miami with the right game plan and executing it. And there was no way, even before the injury. I mean, Tua threw 3 interceptions. In all fairness, 2 of them I don't think was his fault. The first interception he threw, it kind of like bounced off the receiver's shoulder, and it was ricocheted. I didn't blame Tua for that. The second interception, it was a miscommunication with him and Robbie Chosen. He used to. He was a guy I actually really liked when he was with the Jets before he changed his name. I'm drawing a blank what his old name was, but now he wants to go by Robbie Chosen. All right, whatever. It looks like there was a miscommunication. You never know whose fault it was, but it was, Tua threw to a wide open defensive back. I mean, the defensive back basically it was almost like fair catching a. It really was. It was almost like fair catching a punt. And then the third interception, Tua was just trying to throw it away, and he didn't have enough on it, and it was intercepted. I think that was the pick 6. But yeah, Tua wasn't. Yeah, threw 3 interceptions. Even if you make it a 2-score game, there was no way. I've watched a lot of games where teams can come back, and you can kind of get the sense that the team has the ability to come back. And one thing about Miami is that their offense looked really, really bad against Jacksonville for a while, and then next thing you know, Tyreek Hill 80-yard touchdown, and Jalen Waddle later had a 61-yard reception. So, but the Bills, they weren't going to be stopped. No, kudos for Buffalo doing a really, really, really good job. So, find week 3 in Seattle. Is that who Miami's playing? Week 3 is going to be a little weird. They have back-to-back. They have 2 Monday night games. One's going to be a good one. Jacksonville at Buffalo. That's going to be a really, really, really good one. Thursday Night Football, of course, the NFL did a fantastic job. And you're right. Week 3, Miami is traveling to Seattle. This could be a good opportunity for Seattle. Seattle has an opportunity here. Seattle has an excellent opportunity if they can beat New England to start 3-0. So, little love here between you guys. I think that's awesome. Zach Wilson might be a choice for Miami. If you, I think that what Miami wants to do is get a guy long-term, get a veteran who can come in and play for a couple weeks. And I think the way that Miami's going to try to approach this is that we want a guy that can come in and compete with Skylar Thompson for week 3 or 4, but you're not looking for a long-term. If I was Miami after the season's over and after I drop a guy, I would want to bring in Zach Wilson and tell Zach Wilson, hey, listen, while we're grooming this rookie to take over as a starter, you have the opportunity. You're going to be the incumbent starter, and you have the chance to be the starter in 2025. But in 2026, we're going to go with our first-round draft pick. Do I think Zach Wilson's the type of guy that could come in, learn the offense, and be ready to go in a week or 2? No. He's a guy that I would want to bring in and develop in the offseason and give an opportunity for the beginning of the season. If Zach Wilson was on the Miami Dolphins roster during the preseason, I would feel like I would be like, hey, listen, we have a chance here. We got a quarterback with a big arm with a lot of ability. Let's have some fun. Zach Wilson, a guy that can come in a couple weeks, learn the offense, and be ready to play? No. Would I want Zach Wilson in Miami to start 2025? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would. Zach Wilson's a guy that I think that there's several NFL teams that really should take a look at Zach Wilson. So, Skyler, Finn's in Seattle. Oh God, why didn't I think of that? Oh, dude, you're at McDonald's. That's awesome. I will be doing the live stream on 4:20 Eastern, 1:20 Pacific. We're both on Pacific time zone, so this is awesome. He's at McDonald's. This is great. Enjoying afternoon delight at McDonald's. That is awesome. So Skylar Thompson's a former 7th round pick out of K-State. Athletic, talented. Not a guy who I think's really an NFL starter. I think that when I think that when he got hurt, I really think that what happened is when he got hurt, when Tua got hurt, I think it just sucked the life out of the whole team. I expect him to play pretty well next week against Seattle. I expect him to start next week, but if I'm Miami, Ryan Tannehill, who long time player, former 1st round pick of the Miami Dolphins, that would be the guy that, matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of today or even tomorrow, Tannehill signs or at least comes in for a workout. But I don't blame Skylar Thompson. Keep in mind the offensive line was really banged up. I don't know if you saw Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They weren't really kind of invested in the game. So, but yeah. It's funny. I quoted this number earlier, and I was reading this on ESPN. It's something that it's either 93 or 96 million. But basically, here's the drill. Tua retires, right? Tua retires, and as soon as Tua retires, he's set. He's set for life. He has multi-generational wealth. I think the exact number it was either I said it earlier today. It was 93 or 96 million, something like that. It's a phenomenal number. He's set for life. He really is. He really is. He's in good shape. So I should have said Finn's in Seattle. God. Keaton Talk Sports, who's on fire. God, I love Keaton Talk Sports. I'm hoping I can talk Keaton to come on next week's show. Keaton Talk Sports says Tannehill makes sense for Miami. Played there before, knows the system, can use his legs to extend plays. Keep in mind the system that he played with is different than McDaniel's system. But one thing about the Mike McDaniel system, a lot of people think that it's this really complex offense. It's really not. It's just a lot of window dressing. But overall, the Mike McDaniel offense is not a difficult offense. It's really not. It's all in all, it's something that I think Tannehill is a guy that could come in and have it down and possibly be a week 4 starter. Could he possibly start against Seattle? Maybe. The Mike McDaniel offense, contrary to popular belief, is not a complicated offense. There's a lot of window dressing. There's a lot of motion. There's a lot of shifting. By NFL standards, it's not overly complicated. So I do believe that Tannehill could come in and I seriously, I think he could come in and make an impact. We'll have to figure it out. Did they read a curse? Do you think Tannehill could have a big year if he can throw the ball? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but like, could they get to a wild card team with Tannehill? Yeah. Are they bringing in Tannehill in the middle of the season and advancing in the playoffs like Flacco did with Cleveland? By the way, Flacco's the backup in Cleveland right now. He may be a guy, or no. I'm sorry. Indianapolis. I meant to say Indianapolis. It came out Cleveland. By the way, I don't see Indianapolis trading Flacco. Flacco's another guy I think that would really have some fun in that offense. Denver Gator on fire. I was thinking, do you think Darnold will have a breakout year like Baker did last year and get a contract with the Vikings? I actually do. I do think he can. Addison's out this week, but you still got Justin Jefferson. You have a Pro Bowl tight end. You have a really good offensive line. Aaron Jones is a solid running back as long as he stays healthy. He had some injuries staying healthy last year, but the one thing about Aaron Jones, he carried that Green Bay Packers team into the playoffs. The last 3 games of the season, he went over 100 yards and almost single-handedly carried that Packers team into the playoffs. They played against 3 bad teams. I remember it was Bears, Panthers, and some other team that wasn't very good. But I think Darnold will have a good year. Remember J.J. McCarthy, who was looking good in preseason. He's out for the whole year. If I'm Darnold and I have a good enough season, let me backtrack. Let me rephrase this. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings and Darnold has a good season, I offer him more than the Raiders offered Minshew, but about that same type of contract. They offered Minshew a 2-year, $25 million deal. All right. I would offer somewhere in that ballpark. I would, he has I think it's 10 or 12 million this year. I would offer him like a 2-year, $30 million deal. And I would say, listen, and this is if he has a breakout year. I mean, he has 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. And then here's what I would do if I was Minnesota. I would offer him a 2-year deal. And I would have it heavily front loaded for the first year. And I would say, hey, listen, Sam, you had a good year. You'll come into training camp and you'll be the starter. However, when you draft a quarterback in the first round, he's going to play sooner or later. So here's what you do. If you look good, you'll be the starter going into 2025. If McCarthy outplays you, you'll get paid. You'll be the backup, and we'll trade you to the team of your choice. We'll work it out with you. We won't make it hard if you want to go to Vegas, for example. You want to go to Vegas, we'll make it happen. We'll ask for like a 6th and kick back a 7th or something like that. That's what I would do if I was Minnesota. Do I think Darnold will have a breakout? I think Darnold will have a breakout year. I really do. The question is, how much are they invested in J.J. McCarthy? And if I'm the Vikings, I would not go all in. I would do what's called hedging your bets, and I would sign Darnold to like a 2-year deal that's semi-manageable. Now the problem is that is there going to be a team out there that's going to say, hey, let's say, for example, the Miami Dolphins could be a team like the Miami Dolphins that's going to say, hey, we have to draft a quarterback. Darnold, do you want to come in for, to compete for the starting job in 2025? But keep in mind, we're drafting a rookie. We're going to go with him in 2026. Sure. But if I'm Darnold, I do think Darnold will have a good year. The only question will be, is it good enough that the Vikings are going to say, hey, we'll pay you enough to be the starter in 2025, but you have to be gone in 2026? I have no idea. Early indications were that J.J. McCarthy looked really, really, really good. Early indicators were that J.J. McCarthy looked really good. But I still think Darnold was going to be the starter for the whole 2024 season, regardless of how good McCarthy looked. Keaton agrees with Perry. He has a good supporting cast on offense. Defense is trash. CMC out officially for week 2. Okay, I didn't know that. And by the way, I'm really, really mad because I had this. I found this list for the injury report, and for the life of me, I can't. It's on BetUS. And it was just amazing. It was just amazing. And I found it. Actually, they have some really good articles here. Actually, they do have some really good articles, but let me find out. By the way, Andre, I'm not disputing you. I'm double checking to make sure it's okay. So this is just an article. Oh, crap. Please tell me that. Okay, great. This is just the article, but I found it. I finally found it. Okay, so bear with me here. I had this set up. And then for the life of me, I couldn't find it anymore. So this is actually, they have an article that was released just a few minutes ago. And let's see here. So long shot. So it's a long shot. So that's not. Okay, I have to backtrack here, and guys, I apologize. You tune in to watch me on my YouTube channel, and instead of me going on my YouTube, me on my YouTube channel and playing around, but let me see. I wanted to come on. There it is. Okay. 49ers, 49ers, Vikings. Here you are. You tune into YouTube. What's Dan doing? He's just hitting buttons on his computer. Okay. So BetUS still has him as questionable. I'm assuming you saw this on ESPN. Yeah, McCaffrey's out because it's not because they're not saying that on BetUS. I wonder how that's affected the line, because I do know it was 5.5. It's now 5. Earlier, somebody asked about trading for CMC. That trade I would still take. That was the same. But here's the deal. The reason why I would take that trade if I was that guy is because he has CMC's backup, and he also has Saquon Barkley, and he would still be upgrading his receiver position. So, but as far as the line on the game, okay. So let me refresh. So what happens is this is an interesting situation. What it is that because of this injury, BetUS has taken the game down, and once they're going to take it down, they're going to readjust it. So if you bet on the game earlier, that bet is still a valid bet. But as of right now, BetUS and more than likely some other betting websites have taken this game off the betting board, and they're just going to kind of readjust. But the number was at 5.5, dropped down to 5. I'm thinking it may go. They may open it back up at either 4 or 4.5. There is a possibility you may, when the line comes back up, you may be able to get 3.5 somewhere. I would avoid this game, but the guy that has Jordan Mason and Saquon Barkley, that had the opportunity to get CMC and Nico Johnson, still make that move. Still make that move. But thank you for letting me know that, Andre. Andre, huge contributor. I remember seeing you in yesterday, I think the day before too. So I hope I hear a lot more from you. Perry was saying the Vikings head coach is a good offensive coach. Darnold's going to, yeah, absolutely. This is the first time in Sam Darnold's career, because remember, he's drafted by Todd Bowles. Then they traded him to Carolina under Matt Rule, and that was just kind of a disaster. However, Matt Rule looks like he's turning Nebraska around. I don't know if they'll be ranked this year, but I think they'll go to a bowl game and start to get some traction. They take Nebraska's a play. I would like to see Nebraska get back to being ranked. They'll never be a national power again. But I would like to see Nebraska get ranked. College football's fun when Nebraska. College football's a lot of fun when Nebraska's ranked. They take college football very serious in Nebraska. The whole state gets involved because there's no professional team, so they take it very serious there. It's not as serious as in the South, but they take it very serious there. And Nebraska, Iowa, like Nebraska and Iowa, like some really friendly people, really friendly people, really good people. I would love to see Nebraska become a national power again. I would love it. Never happened. If Matt Rule starts building up Nebraska, somebody like Florida or Lane Kiffin, you can never count on to stay somewhere. But there'll be like an SEC or a bigger Big Ten school that will take note and say, hey, you want to come here? We didn't talk about it, but the Pac-12 is trying to ravage the Mountain West and bring over four schools from the Mountain West and try to rebuild the Pac-12. I have to wait and get and see, but apparently the play's already in play. The Mountain West will get something like $110 million, and then they'll try to regroup, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I don't know where I got on that rant from. Keaton Talk Sports, by the way, is a Patriots fan. But he also on his YouTube channel picked the same thing I did. He had Pats will beat Seattle. It'll be a defensive battle and see a lot of points. I don't either. It wouldn't surprise me if I see a special teams or a defensive touchdown in that game. Denver Gator, yeah. Russell Wilson in Miami would be perfect. Efficient, fast running game and speedsters for wide receiver. O-line just needs to keep them upright for the deep balls. One thing that a lot of people weren't looking at is the offensive line was having some problems in Miami on the left side. They were on their third string guard, and the tackle, Teron Armstead, was coming in and out of the game. Before the season starts, he was threatening retirement. So that's never a good sign when you have a starter who's 32 battling injuries saying, hey, maybe it's time to hang it up. But they had some offensive line in issues. Now Tua with the concussion. But Russell Wilson in Miami would be absolutely perfect. Denver Gator wonder if Wilson will get moved at the deadline. I think there's a lot of players I'm kind of looking at that could be deadline moves. I originally thought before the contract, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel is a guy I wouldn't be surprised if at least some calls were made because he's going to play a little bit at running back while Christian McCaffrey comes back. But when Christian McCaffrey comes back, is Deebo Samuel somebody you may want to consider? I said this on the Luke G show, and they don't like me there, but I said Jameson Williams might be a guy because you gave Jared Goff all that money, you gave him Monroe all that money, you get Penny Sewell all that money. You're going to have to pay Aiden Hutchinson soon. So wide receiver contracts right now are crazy. Jamar Chase just threw away 4 years, 140. He's like, not good enough. So Jameson Williams is a guy that you may want to consider because he had that big game on prime time. He's a guy that you may be able to get a 2. I think a low 2, high 3, but that would be a guy. And if I'm Detroit, because I've been hitting on my draft, that would be a guy that I would kind of take a look at. But he's a guy that could be moved at the deadline as well. Trying to think of some other players off the top of my head. I think Russell Wilson, if the Steelers were smart, I think the Steelers would move him to Miami. I think Miami makes a lot of sense, but I think what the Steelers are going to do is if Justin Fields has a really good game, and I'm not talking just win, I mean, he has to have a good game. I think it's just a matter of time before he becomes the starter. I really believe that. I really, really, really believe that. So I would move him, but Russell Wilson's a guy I think that could be moved. Trying to think of some other names just right off the top of my head. I don't see it, but I think Micah Parsons in the offseason might be a trade candidate, not at the deadline. But remember, I didn't see Montez Sweat. I didn't see Chase Young. But I can see a team like Tennessee maybe getting rid of a player or two. I could see a team like maybe New York, which realizes, hey, we need a quarterback. Miami might be a team that wants to move somebody. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to tell you this right now. I do believe the trade deadline, when the trade deadline comes, I think we're going to see some moves. I think we're going to see some moves. I think we're going to see some big moves, to be honest. So, but yeah, I think Russell Wilson, if Justin Fields plays well enough, I could see a Russell Wilson Miami move. That would make a lot of sense. But if I'm Miami, I'm already reaching out to Tannehill's agent, and I'm already got him like on the phone and making plans. But if that doesn't work out, then Russell Wilson to Miami just makes a lot of sense, man. Thursday night. The first 6 games of Thursday night football is must-see TV. It's must-see TV. Next Thursday night football is Jets versus the Pats. I think this game will be good. I think the Pats could win this game. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a great game regardless of the records between these two, because New England has 1 win and the Jets have a loss. It's going to be a big game, because let's just say for fun it's 2-0 New England against 1-1 New York. Well, a Patriots victory gives them 3-0 and gives them a fighting chance against Buffalo. The Jets win, and that week 1 loss is widely overlooked. You're 2-1. You hold the tiebreaker against the Patriots. You are tied up with the Dolphins, which are a team on the ropes now, and you're also within striking distance of the Bills. Let's say both teams lose. You got 1-1 versus 0-2. Well, that's even more desperation time for the Jets, because the Jets can't get to 0-3. Let's just have some fun. Let's say the Patriots are 1-2. Now we start talking about Drake May. Now we start saying, hey, things are falling apart, and we have a good defense, and we got this quarterback we took 3rd overall, and that becomes interesting. So I mean, the NFL just aced Thursday night football. Just aced it. So great job by the NFL, because like the first 6 games of Thursday night football are all going to be good games. Yeah, 31-10. I was wanting something a little better, but this isn't bad. Miami can't wait until the deadline. They need to get a quarterback ASAP. I seriously think that they're reaching out to Tannehill. I expect Tannehill to be signed probably Monday. If that doesn't work out, I think Russell Wilson makes a lot of sense in that offense. I mean, I'm trying to think of free agent quarterbacks. Blaine Gabbert's a guy I don't think signed with a team. Cam Newton, I would love to see, but I doubt it. I really, really, really doubt it. I really, really, really doubt it. Wouldn't it be fun if Tom Brady just said, forget announcing, and like, hey, I want to throw a Tyreek Hill? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be great? It won't happen, but I mean, come on. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if Tom Brady said, screw this? Do you remember when Jay Cutler was going to go and do TV, and the Dolphins asked him, hey, can you come for 1 year? And he's like, yeah, why not? Wouldn't it be fun? Tom Brady with the Dolphins. Please let it happen. Let's have some fun. Yeah, they do need to fix that defense. Anthony Weaver came in as a new defensive coordinator. I kept on telling people this, that you lose your defensive coordinator, and Vic Fangio is a good one. Then you lose Xavier Howard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Christian Wilkins. Like there was no effort from the Miami Dolphins to sign Christian Wilkins at all. Now, Chop Robinson is a size speed freak. Didn't really come together in college, and he's a guy that's going to need a little bit of time to develop, but I think he could be a double-digit sack type of dude. Won't be this year. Remember, Jalen Phillips coming off an injury. Bradley Chubb's coming off an injury. Chubb was a Vic Fangio guy. So, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. But Anthony Weaver's a brand new defensive coordinator, former defensive line coach from Baltimore, so I have to wait and see. But I actually didn't think Miami's defense played that bad. All 3 of Tua's interceptions resulted in the points when they went for it on fourth down and missed. Dalvin Cook gashed them for a touchdown the very next play. I think the way Miami decided to build their team was, hey, we're going to invest heavily on the offense, light on the defense, and try to win shootouts. With our quarterback, we gave $200 million to this offseason. But yeah, you're right though. They need to tighten the defense up. Tonight is a $75 million lottery draw here. Wish me luck. Perry, if you win the lottery, it's tax-free. Wow. Yeah, so here in the States, if you won a $75 million lottery, at least 40 of it is gone immediately. And then whatever you have is subjected to yearly taxes. But if you do win, can I get a $5 super chat? Perry, so you heard it here. Perry is guaranteeing me at least a $5 super chat if he wins. Perry, good luck. And if you win, remember you're my favorite and I'm your biggest fan. I like Kirk Herbstreit. Yes, I do too. I didn't realize how behind on comments I was. All right. Denver Gator, I think you have a good point, but I think I'm almost positive you met Russell Wilson. Perry, you're right. Josh Allen needs to be top candidate for MVP this year. Right now, keep in mind the numbers weren't great, but Josh Allen does need to be a top candidate. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If the Chiefs win over 12 games, Patrick Mahomes is there. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to throw for over 270 and run for over 120 every single game. But if he gets over 1,000 yards rushing and over 3,000 yards passing, by the way, he's on pace for a 4-1, which is you almost have to give him an MVP if he goes for 4-1. Saquon Barkley, of course, over 100 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley is a guy that just needs to stay healthy. I could go through each team and kind of give you some candidates. TJ Watt looked like defensive MVP after week 1. Keon White for the Patriots had 2.5 sacks, just looked dominant. Greg Rousseau had 3 sacks week 1, played really well. These are all defensive MVPs. I would love to see a TJ Watt dominated against Atlanta. If he has a couple performances like that and there's not a clear-cut MVP candidate, I would love to see a defensive player included in the conversation. There's only been 2, Lawrence Taylor and Alan Page. Lawrence Taylor, I believe it was the 90 season. Was it the 86? I think it was the 86 season. I remember J.J. Watt. A lot of people thought that J.J. Watt should have been considered as NFL MVP when he had one of his 20-sack seasons because he was dominant against the run, had a bunch of batted passes, and I thought that was fair. But, Josh Allen, there's only a handful of guys that are legitimate candidates to be MVP. Josh Allen's one of them. I would. Perry says, I think Steelers would trade Russell Wilson for 6th or 7th pick. All right. Hour 2 is in the books. I'm going to take a real quick commercial break. I'm going to be back for the final hour of Afternoon Delight. Stay tuned as I just take a very quick break. This Sunday, live on YouTube, play-by-play and reaction when the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes take on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. On the live stream, all questions are answered and anything goes. Join the fun live starting 4:20 Eastern, 1:20 Pacific. I'll see you on Sunday. BetUS has partnered up with Dan Talks Football. I made a video in the description below showing you my first $100 deposit. This promotion is listed, but there are many more promotions available. In the video I made, I used a 20% bonus that's available on my first 3 deposits, turning my $100 deposit into $120. Use the promo code in the description below and start winning today. All right. 1 hour of Afternoon Delight is left. Then we're here for a great weekend. Some great games on the college level. Some really great games on the pro level. I am very tempted to take Oregon State plus 16. That was the last number I saw. I'm going to pass. There is some NFL action that I do like this week. If you are putting any action down, let me know. Originally, I was leaning towards Tampa Bay, but that was before I found out Winfield and some others are out. So I'm leaning against that. I do like New England. Right now, they're a 3-point home dog. The line in the game that I really like is the Jets and Titans. The Jets are now down to a 3.5. I do think the Jets win this game handily. I have no faith in the Tennessee Titans being any good this year. So I do like the Jets to cover 3.5. It was at 4. I think it was 4.5. And then some other games. I like the Rams 1-point dog, basically a coin flip. It's even money. Pittsburgh minus 2.5. I kind of like. And don't get me wrong. I think Philly will win and cover 6.5. It's not something I love, though. It's not something I love. But there are some really good games. There are some really good games. But if I was a Steeler, by the way, here's a drill. This is predicated on Justin Fields being the starter. So notice also Cam Newton. Ryan Tannehill's probably the one I think that would be signed. Ryan Tannehill's available. Blaine Gabbert, who was with the Chiefs as a backup. He was Tom Brady's backup when Tampa won that god-awful Super Bowl that everybody hated. You also have Cam Newton. Those are a couple guys just right off the top of my head. But I think Tannehill is one of those few guys that could come in and be ready to start. I mean, I really do believe that he's a guy that could come in and be ready to start. So those 3 guys are free agent. Cam Newton was making some news before Atlanta signed Kirk Cousins that he would want to play in the NFL. He just had to play for Atlanta. I think if Miami called Cam Newton and said, "Hey, you want to come down and play quarterback here?" I really think he would go for it. I think the Dolphins would rather stay with Skylar Thompson and some other guys. But I do think that this is the year Miami just says, "Hey, look, we need to draft somebody." K-State does have a thing for athletic quarterbacks. I haven't had a chance. By the way, K-State and Arizona play battle of ranked undefeated teams. Really, really good low-key matchup. Really, really good low-key matchup that not a lot of people are talking about. Really good game. Big game for K-State because if they win that game, they they're 3-0. A win against a ranked team. They were ranked. I think they're ranked 13th, and Arizona's ranked, I think, 20th. So you beat Arizona at home, which you should be able to do. You have a legitimate chance to start throwing your name in that conversation. So Arizona, however, if they beat the 13th ranked team on the road and they're 3-0, they could easily make the same argument. Plus, their schedule's a lot easier. A lot easier. And K-State doesn't have a real schedule either, but it's kind of a low-key game that a lot of people aren't interested in. So here's what they did. They gave a lot of money to Tyreek Hill. They gave a lot of money to Jalen Waddle. They gave a lot of money to Jalen Ramsey. They gave a lot of money to their defensive ends. They decided not to pay Christian Wilkins, and then they decided that they're going to have a former 7th-round pick who has some athletic upside, in Skylar Thompson. They're just gonna roll with him. One of the things Kansas City did is that they signed Carson Wentz. Remember how good Carson Wentz was. The New York Jets went and got Tyrod Taylor. I think it was a good move. So yeah, I mean, having a veteran good backup quarterback, I think it's very important in the NFL. So Perry is live streaming and picking up girls. That's awesome. Channing Goodwin, I am so angry. I just traded away Worthy 15 minutes before the news came out that Hollywood would be out for months. So here's the drill. Hollywood Brown was put on the IR. He's going to be out for a minimum of 4 weeks. Keep in mind one of the things about what'd you get for him, if you don't mind me asking. What'd you get for him, and what's your receiver room look like? Because one thing about Kansas City is Rashee Rice is wide receiver number 1. Juju Smith-Schuster was just signed not too long ago. So you have a guy, by the way, his year in Kansas City was like 79 receptions, 900 and some yards. He was the recipient of the holding call against the Eagles that resulted in the Chiefs kicking the Super Bowl winning field goal. So Juju Smith-Schuster is involved. The Chiefs gave Noah Gray, the other tight end, a 3-year, $19 million deal. Not a lot of people know about Noah Gray outside of Kansas City. They also drafted Jared Wiley, who played a little bit in week 1. He's a 4th-round pick out TCU, got massive upside. If you don't mind, what'd you get for him? Because I get that you traded away Worthy, but you may be in good shape. Worthy's not option 1, 2, or 3 in Kansas City. He had 2 touchdowns week 1. Great. I would bet money he's not going to score more than 10. Like he's going to be a single digit touchdown guy who had that great week. What you did is you traded away a guy that when he's hot. And that's what you want to do. That's why I've been urging people, like, if you have Jameson Williams and you can get somebody really good. I think somebody a couple weeks ago, I think I've deleted all these questions, but somebody had I did delete it, but somebody had a question. Do I want to trade Jameson Williams for Brian Thomas Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigba? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Make that move in a heartbeat. So this, you may, I don't know what you got, but you may be in really good state. You may be in really good shape, Channing, and you're not trading away guys in number 1. So. Oh, absolutely. So Perry, who's been on fire, says, I think the McDaniel offense is helped because of Hill. Absolutely. So it's all predicated. So what they do is it's an offense predicated on speed. It's not overly complex. It's a lot of shifting. But Jalen Waddle's a guy who's a big play threat. Devin Archain was the reason why he got so many touches is because teams are going to play Miami very similar to how they play, how Buffalo played them. They're going to play. By the way, this is the same way you play against Patrick Mahomes. You put two safeties in the parking lot. You bracket Tyreek Hill. You play zone and allow teams to dink and dunk. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, give McDaniel some credit. I think I love the way he uses Tyreek Hill, and I think it's wise. But yeah, because you have Tyreek Hill out there. That was a big reason why Devin Archain, by the way, blew up. Had a great week 3 and a loss. So. Denver Gator says that there should be no hurry to bring back CMC. Let him heal and keep him healthy for the long season in the playoffs. No, I would 100% do that. That's why you want to have good depth on a team is because of situations like this. That's why I think San Francisco, in signing all their big time players, massive contracts, it hurts because you're going to figure out what to do when Purdy. You're going to have to sign him soon. And you don't have a lot of depth. So a guy like Jordan Mason's, with another good game or two, there's a good chance that he's going to want more money down the line, whether it's next year or the year after. And 49ers are going to be like, hey, we can't afford to pay you because we're giving Ayuk $120 million. Trent Williams got $90 million. CMC got an extension this fall. And but yeah, if I'm the 49ers, I would rest CMC. Wouldn't surprise me he doesn't play next week either. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. I forget the injury, the specific injury that he had, but they were saying that it could last for a while. I mean, this is the one thing about CMC. The one thing about CMC, I'm sorry, my nose itches really bad. The one thing about CMC is that the injury is not there's still a possibility he could go to IR. I think it's unlikely, but don't think that, if I got CMC, he's definitely playing week 3. Don't think that at all. Keep paying attention about CMC on the injury report. So that would be awesome. I'll hit you up. You got DK Metcalf? That's a win. Here's the deal, though, with DK Metcalf. Early, so against Denver, it looked like Seattle's going to run the ball more. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the future. Tyler Lockett. I've always thought between Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, I always thought Tyler Lockett was the better one, but DK Metcalf makes some more explosive plays. I think you won this trade. I really do. Against the Patriots, we'll have to find out what kind of game he has. Worthy against the Bengals, we're going to find out what game he has. But I think you won this trade, so don't be mad. But yeah, I get it. I get your logic. I think you won this trade. I think you got the better player. I think he's going to put more numbers. Now, 2025, I expect Worthy to be a little more involved. But by the way, when Hollywood Brown does come back in 4 or 5 weeks, if he comes back, he will be integrated into this offense. So, oh God, you're right. Denver Gator says, you just mentioned New York needing a quarterback. Wouldn't it be funny to have Zach go back to Jersey and ball out? Football wet dream. New York media lose their minds. That would be hilarious. I would love for Zach Wilson to join the Giants and just be awesome. That would be so fantastic. Jackson, fire away, brother. The Steelers are better off trying to develop Fields into a star. I've been saying that. Perry's on fire today, but you're right. You have much more of an upside. Another thing is that if you're Fields, here's another thing is that I mentioned the 2-year $30 million deal. I mentioned a 2-year $25 million deal. So let's say that you have a 2-year $25 million deal. If you are Gardner Minshew, that's what they signed. If you're the Steelers, you could probably get Justin Fields to sign like a 2-year $30 million deal. And you have the potential there to have a starting quarterback really, really, really cheap by NFL standards. And then the best part is if you sign him to like a 2-year deal and it doesn't work out, you can just get rid of him. You can draft a quarterback later on. You can do so many different things. But if Fields ends up being a solid starter this year, you're in good shape this year. I mean, look, you have the defense from hell. You have Najee Harris. The offensive line's much improved. George Pickens is he's a low-end wide receiver number 1 at this point, but he has potential to be really, really good. Freiermuth, you gave a big contract to this offseason. He deserves it. You have that other tight end from Georgia who I thought was more of a blocker, but a lot of people liked him. Darnell Washington. A lot of people were impressed. He ran like a 4.6 and then had this one-handed catch at the combine, but he did that right after he dropped the ball. So, but yeah. I 100% agree. I've been saying this for a while. So yeah. So CMC signed a 2-year extension or something like that, and making, I think it was like 17 and a half a year. Denver Gator says, I saw a graphic for the San Francisco backup in CMC. A CMC game check is the same amount the backup makes in a year. It's something like 940,000. Yeah. If you're a 3rd round pick and you're playing on a rookie deal, it's depending on where you are, 940,000 sounds about right. I was going to say I think it's under $1 million if you're a 3rd round pick. I think we're at a point now. I'd have to double check, but I think every 1st and 2nd round pick is a millionaire, and then I think top of the 3rd round, maybe a few of those guys are millionaires. I think I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. Yeah. And by the way, Jordan Mason's playing for a new deal. I mean, he knows that. I mean, at least he should know, or at least his agent should know, looking at San Francisco, like, hey, look, you're not there long term. San Francisco could trade you, or if you do really well, you'll have to hit free agency. Jordan Mason might actually, because this will be year number 3 in San Francisco. If he has a good year this year, he may go into year number 4 and hold out and demand a trade. That's not a bad move. Excuse me. Sorry about that. By the way, Jackson, yeah. So the 49ers did draft a running back. They drafted, if I remember right, it was Blake Corum. Or no, that was they draft. If I'm positive the 49ers drafted a running back. Let me double check on that. I may be just making stuff up. Yeah, they drafted. Okay, it was in the 4th round. Isaiah Garando, guy who was like 220, ran like a 4.33. He was the Louisville running back that had over 200 yards against USC in the Holiday Bowl. And then I was like, okay, I know USC is playing a bunch of backups, but let me take a look at this guy. Is this guy? And I was like, yeah, this guy can play. And then at the combine, he was like 220, 221, ran like a 4.33. So you have that dude. So By the way, Jackson, this is what I live for, man. This is I thank you, and I hopefully I can help you out here. I got a fruit fly in here. It's probably all these energy drinks I've been drinking. All right, 10-man PPR quarterback Daniels. Not high on that, but running backs A-Chain. Great job last night. Kenneth Walker, keep an eye out on the injury report. Derrick Henry, Williams, McLaughlin, Wright, Mason. Wide receivers, Olave, Lamb, Flowers, Coleman, Kirk. Tight end, Kincaid, Hawk. 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 10 to 1 flag shots, and Walker for London and Dak. Ooh, boy. Oh, God. I did you please tell me you started him once you saw he was healthy. If you know, even if you didn't, that's not bad because oh yeah. Yeah, so you're in good shape. Okay. You have to keep an eye out on the injury report because Mozart, I was drawing a blank on his name. When Mozart comes back, those touches are going to drop. And then A-Chain's a guy that's never going to be a guy who's going to play all 17 games. So, God, Walker's clearly your number 2. Mason might be your guy this week. The answer is yes. I wanted to, and then I got tied up. So ideally, I want to go over all the games. We may not have Perry. We may not have enough time because I wanted to go over. I kind of want to go over the games, talk about the point spreads and everything. May not be able to. So I'm looking at your receivers. The one thing I will say is you don't need London at all. I mean, London, you don't need London at all. I mean, your receivers are solid. I mean, you got your solid number 1 in Lamb. You can argue Olave or Flowers, but either is a good one. I mean, Coleman's another guy I really like. Christian Kirk's another guy I really, really, really like. So, I mean, listen, I'm going to level with you. I mean, unless you're firmly convinced Drake London's they're just going to force feed London. Because I know he didn't get a lot of touches. And let me pull up the stats for Drake London. I want to quote you like 4 for 47 last week against the Steelers. Keep in mind, he may put up better numbers against the 2 for 15 last week. 2 for 15 last week. So, I mean, London doesn't really do much for you. Or Walker, out of those running backs, and keep in mind, I know Mason had a really, 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 really good week. McLaughlin's a guy, and by the way, I'm assuming Williams, Javonte Williams. So you got both Denver running backs. Keep an eye out in that situation. They like McLaughlin, but I've always been high on Javonte Williams. I don't know why they're not using Derrick Henry more, but do you have another quarterback? If Jaden Daniels is your only dude, God, that is a really tough one because, I mean, you don't need London at all. Walker is, in my opinion, very clearly you're a guy you got to start. And once A-Chain goes to the bench, you got Jalen Wright. He barely played. He's not a guy who's probably going to get on the field. Once CMC comes back, Mason's probably not going to get a lot of touches. McLaughlin Williams is a good one. So thinking I should just hold. I think I'm just excited for the season. I want to trade, but it might be best to hold on to my roster. Yeah, let me see here. I had Caleb Williams that dropped him after week one. Not a great showing, but thinking I can play off waivers, assuming Jaden Daniels has a bad week too. Um, I mean, look, I'm on level with you. Like Jaden Daniels playing against the Giants, I really don't think is. I like having a quarterback that okay, personal preference. Um, I like having a quarterback that I can bank on to be a consistent scorer. And the one thing I also like is that I like having the Dak and Lamb combo. What I don't like is that Walker is very clearly your best option. Keep in mind, A Chain blew up for you. Great job starting him. Um, you don't need a receiver, and Walker's your best running back. Um, you're in a 10 you're in a 10-person league, and I get why you dropped Caleb Williams. That was I mean, he'll have a few games where he'll excite you. Jaden Daniels, I don't think is going to put up much against the Giants. But one thing about Daniels though is that he is going to get better every week. So I would not make this move at all. And the reason why is that Walker, they're really leaning on Walker. I really thought it would be more of a Walker Charbonnet split. I know Walker's also an injury report. Keep an eye out on that, by the way. But if Walker plays, he's a must start. Um, and he's also a 3-down back. Drake London's not a guy, but I get the logic behind it, and I also get the logic of getting Dak, especially Dak and CeeDee Lamb together, because you get a situation. I mean, Dak and Lamb are going to put monster numbers, so I get the logic behind it. But if you can make a move, let me throw this out at you. Um, I would seriously consider maybe moving A Chain after this week. And I know you're going to say, Dan, you're nuts. Look at all the numbers he put up, blah, blah, blah. I would consider moving A Chain if you can get a solid running back and a better quarterback. Keep an eye out. I don't make this move, but you may want to consider moving A Chain because strike when the iron is hot. Um, he's not a guy that's going to be consistently getting better numbers. Once Mossert comes back, his numbers are going to drop. Plus, you have a unknown quarterback situation. So you may have teams lining up 7 against Miami, but I would say after this week, throw out some flyers and see what you can get for A Chain, because you may be able to get something more. Hold on to Walker because he's your best running back though. But yeah. Darnell Washington. It was kind of funny because Darnell Washington's a guy that I really think the Georgia staff should have said, put on another 20 pounds and play left tackle, and you're a top 10 pick. Where at 270, he's a 3rd-round tight end who's going to be a backup. And here's the deal. He's going to play in the NFL probably for about 10 years. He's never going to be like that number 1 tight end, like Kelsey or your Freiermuth or anything like that. So I wouldn't call him a project. It's he's a blocking tight end, but people saw the speed, they saw some of the clips, they saw the one-handed reception at the combine, and they're like, no, we can do something. No, he's a blocking tight end. But I mean, I think somebody should have told him when he was in college, look, get up to 290. Because if I remember right, he ran like a 4.6 something at 270. Somebody should have told him to put on 30 pounds and play left tackle. Seriously, if somebody told him, hey, listen, get to 290, play tackle, and you're a top 10 pick. Yeah. I don't think he's a project. I just think he's a blocking tight end. And he'll play in the NFL for like 10 to 12 years. And he'll be a solid player. He'll never be a star. If he would have put on 20 to 30 pounds in college and played left tackle, he would have been top 10 pick. It is. It is. It's a shame he lives in San Francisco because, yeah. Yeah. Well, in San Francisco, he probably can't buy a house, but he's from Georgia Tech. So I don't know if he's from that area, the Florida, Georgia area, but down south, he could buy a nice house for $940,000. In San Francisco, that's not much, but yeah. I have all the games here, Perry. I was going to go over to point spreads. I had the injury lineups, which I found here, which I just found on BetUS. They have this really good injury report, which is phenomenal. I just found this. I think it's great. Matter of fact, oh crap, you know what, Perry, you don't, Perry, you actually don't, you don't do social media, but I'm going to post it on X. And this is really, really, really good because they have all the matchups and a much more extensive injury report than ESPN. But my goal was, I got 30 minutes left to go over the games, go over the injury reports. So I apologize because it doesn't look like I'm going to get to it. Perry has Chargers, Ravens, Kansas City should be winners. Yeah. Ravens, by the way, 9.5-point favorite at home against the Raiders. I've said this a couple times. When you're a West Coast team, you travel to the East Coast for an early game. It's usually difficult. The Ravens had a few extra days to prepare. I was taking a look at this game, though. Even Lamar Jackson's on the injury report. The Ravens are a little more banged up than I would have liked. Raiders starting offensive lineman, second-round pick Johnson, or is it it's Jackson Powers Johnson? That's what I was trying to say. JPJ, I'm sorry. Player I really like, by the way. He's a guy that I was really hoping to have more of an impact. The Raiders missing a couple defensive players, specifically defensive ends. Everything's kind of leaning towards the Ravens, not just winning this game, but covering 9.5, biggest line of the week. Kansas City plays Cincinnati. Cincinnati always plays Kansas City tough. The line, I think, was 6. I think it opened at 6. It's still 6. I think this game's going to be close. These two teams usually play each other. I don't recommend betting this one, but I like the Bengals to cover 6 at Arrowhead. Even though I like Kansas City to win, I would avoid that game. The Los Angeles Chargers are traveling to Carolina. Carolina's having all sorts of problems. I would be careful on this one betting. Chargers are a 5-point road favorite. Carolina's a team. The Panthers fans actually kind of come out. Panthers play a little better at home. I know they only won 2 games last year. But yeah, I agree completely. I picked all 3 of those games as my winners. So Houston should beat the Bears. I agree with that. I really do. Originally, I was saying bet on Tampa Bay to cover 8 with all those injuries. Detroit may win by double digits. The Saints traveled to Dallas. Dallas is now a 6.5-point favorite. I think it was 6. This is a game that I'm really going to pay attention to because if the Saints play the Cowboys tough, you may have to look at the Saints. The Saints don't have to win this game, but I think if the Saints play the Cowboys tough, you may have to look at the Saints and go, is this a team that you have to worry about? Dallas has to win this game or else week 1 is irrelevant. It's a low-key, really, really good game. So I'm kind of looking at Dallas and the Saints. Houston on Sunday night's a good one. Houston against Chicago. I really am excited. I really want to see how the Bears defense does against CJ Stroud. They made Will Levis. By the way, Will Levis, don't ever say anything bad about Will Levis to Denver Gator. But don't ever say anything bad about Will Levis to Denver Gator. But CJ Stroud and Will Levis kind of different. I want to see how the Bears handle CJ Stroud. I'm really looking forward to that. Houston gave up some big plays to Anthony Richardson. How will they handle Caleb Williams? Going to be a very entertaining, very fun Sunday night game. I agree with that. There's a lot of really good games here. Well, the trade partner has Amon-Ra, but he wasn't want to give them to me for anything. And yeah, don't need a receiver, just looking for a quarterback. You're right. The trade partner has Amon-Ra. No wonder he wants to throw away. Drake London. That makes a lot of sense. I don't blame you for looking for a quarterback. When I play, the one thing that I'm always trying to do is lock. I like my quarterbacks to be a lock to get like that 20 to 25. I want quarterbacks in pass happy systems. Back in the day, I would overdraft for a guy like Drew Brees. Drew Brees was like one of my favorites. I think it's favorite for a lot of people. They have said he's doubtful, so I'm wondering, should I trade for Charbonnet, maybe send Kirk for him or something? So the thing is with Charbonnet, I like Charbonnet. He wasn't used hardly at all. I was kind of expecting him to be used more. If Walker doesn't play, Charbonnet's, I think, going to have a big game. This is a guy I absolutely loved. He started his career at Michigan, went to UCLA. Looked a little different at UCLA, looked more like a 3-down back. I was kind of expecting Seattle to use like a 1-2 system. It looks like they're just going with Walker. With your receivers that you have, Christian Kirk's not bad, but Jonathan Taylor is the dude that I would really, if you have an opportunity to get Jonathan with your lineup, with those receivers that you have, and you need a running back, Jonathan Taylor would be a definite excellent option. Now, keep in mind, Jonathan Taylor the last 2 years had some injury issues, but as long as he is healthy, he is a running back number one. Not really, because you're in a PPR league. I like running backs, but Jonathan Taylor's not a dude who's going to catch a lot of passes. I'm just giving you a heads up. His production may be limited, but if you can get Jonathan Taylor, I would strongly suggest that. I think he's going to have a good game against the Packers, by the way. So I think the Saints can play the Cowboys tough. I think I agree completely. That's definitely a possibility, and that's kind of the reason why I want to look is because when they blew out Carolina. Now, here's the deal: there's always some weirdness that happens week one. There's always some weirdness and things that are kind of fluky. But excuse me. I'm so sorry, man. This energy drink's gonna there was a lot of talk about the Saints just being a terrible team, but I mean they're top 10 in offense and defense. I like the shift offensively. Their offensive line's banged up. That's why that's kind of the big thing is that they're going into Dallas with a banged up offensive line. That bothers me. But if they play them tough, they don't have to win. Then I'm looking at, not only could I see the Saints be a wild card team, I think that NFC South is up for grabs. I mean, we all think Detroit's going to beat Tampa Bay. So, I mean, where's he from? I'm drawing a blank. Which I did too, Perry, until I saw that. Until I saw the injury report, until I saw Winfield's going to be out, multiple defensive backs are going to be out, Calais Cansey's going to be out. Goff should have a big game. Chris T, what's up, brother? Trade Amari Cooper and Gus Edwards for Bucky Irvin and Chris Olave. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Amari Cooper's been a talk of trade talks lately. Gus Edwards is technically the starter, but J.K. Dobbins is the best running back on that team. And as long as he's healthy, Edwards is going to be limited. I like Bucky Irving. I'm a little surprised he played that much. I think a lot of it had to do with that. It was kind of a blowout game. They had it under control. So Rachaad White, I think, will get the majority of the carries. I like Olave better than I like Cooper. Okay, this is a different league I'm in. My running backs are hold on. Let me ask you this. What are your running backs for this league? First off, because here's the drill. Your Edwards is not number one for you. Bucky Irving's not number one. What you have to figure out though is that here's the drill. Edwards is much more likely due to J.K. Dobbins' injury history to have a productive 2024 than Irving. Okay. Chris Olave, his value right now is really low because he had a 2-catch, 11-yard performance. He's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I think Amari Cooper has a chance to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but with the tackles being out and Cleveland just being a disaster, talk about Amari. Usually when there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm hearing this trade talk with Amari Cooper. Also with Jerry Jeudy coming in. He's a guy I always expected to do really good in Denver. Didn't do it. He was traded for a bag of chips. And then Cleveland, for whatever reason, gave him a 3-year, $58 million deal. I was really surprised about that because he didn't warrant that contract at all. But he has the potential. So because you said that this is a different league. I'm in. My running backs are Barkley, A-Chain, James Conner. My wide receivers are Ayuk, Cooper, Godwin, Brian Thomas Jr. Is this okay? You said it was a different league that you're talking about. Because I will say this: if these two leagues are, if this is the league that you're doing, so you have some solid, so you have maybe the best player. Hopefully, you start a day chain, and Connor is a guy you want to kind of keep an eye on. I think they're going to kind of start phasing him out for Trey Benson, the 3rd-round rookie out of Florida State. But I mean, your wide receivers are amazing. So I mean, if this league is this one, I don't think I would do it, and the reason why I say that is because you may want to keep Gus Edwards for when, and it sucks, but I hate saying this, but J.K. Dobbins will probably go down with an injury, and then you're going to get consistent 15 to 20 touches out of Gus Edwards. So if this is your league where you have these really good receivers, I I would not make this move because you're adding Olave and you're dropping Cooper. All right. Cooper is, in my opinion, number 4 wide receiver because I like Brian Thomas Jr. But I mean, Ayuk, I know he had 2 catches for, what was it, 2 catches, 30 yards, something like that. Godwin right now would be your number 1. Maybe Ayuk could be number 2 going forward. But, I mean, Olave will do better than Cooper. But you have 4 you have 4 guys here that you can play with, and I think Godwin and Ayuk are going to be your number 1s going forward. Ayuk, pay attention to what he does against Minnesota. I have no idea if you're starting him or not. I would probably, I mean, there's some injuries in the Jacksonville secondary. And Brian Thomas Jr. going against Cleveland is a little tough, so I'm not really sure. I will say this: I like Olave to have a nice game against. I like Olave to have a nice game against Dallas. I have a feeling he's going to have a comeback type of game. I mean, he's not going to go 2 for 11. I have a feeling Olave is going to get like a touchdown or maybe go over 100. So. But in this situation, I from what I'm looking at, no, I would hold on to Gus Edwards. And the reason why, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I told the other guy, if you started A-Chain this week, kudos. I would throw him out there as trade bait because somebody's going to give up more than what he's worth because when Mostert comes back, he's going to be the number 1 running back, not A-Chain. And you can't bank on A-Chain, even though he looks like he bulked up during the offseason. I don't expect him to be able to take, I mean, what did he have, over 30 touches? About 30 I think it was 22 carries, 7 receptions. I mean, I hope you started him last night, but I mean, he was an injury issue. Mozart will probably start week 3, probably get the majority, but I mean, our A-Chain will probably get like 10 to 15 touches next week. But A-Chain's not going to have that 30 touch performance again. So I would throw him out there, dangle him as trade bait. Yeah. If Levis, I think he is going to play bad again. I think they got the wrong offense. I think Titans are going to be hurt. He's been on the injury report last couple of days. So I get that. I'm in 2 $1 buy-in leagues. This one's in ESPN. The others are on Yahoo. Also, Trey Benson is on. Trey Benson. I've never done one of these $100 buy-in leagues, but I'm a big fan of them. I really like them, and Trey Benson is a good one to pick up. Keep in mind, I don't have the exact numbers pulled up. There's only 10 minutes left in the show, so I don't want to dive in and do some research. Christy, by the way, if you do have a question, either tonight or tomorrow, drop a comment. My social media is also in the description. I'm on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, Instagram. Add me, send me a DM. I can get back to you either tonight and I can get back to you tomorrow. If you message me on Sunday, you're out of luck. But Trey Benson, you could probably get really, really, really cheap. And I think he's going to phase out Connor. And I think sooner than later, he's going to be that. I actually wouldn't be surprised against the Rams if he has double-digit touches. And I think sooner that rather than later, he's going to be like a 15, 20 touch guy. So Trey Benson's a guy that I'm very, very high on. And in this league, I guarantee he's got to be like $1 or $2. So I'm actually predicted to win this league. I get it. I want you to win. I'm going to do everything I can. To back up running back for the 49ers, I mean, yeah, so so here's the drill. He went to college at Georgia Tech. So I don't know where he's from originally, but I'm under the impression that because he's from um, the East Coast, that or he went to college at Georgia Tech. I'm assuming he's from Florida, or he's from Florida or Georgia, somewhere down in the South. So I predicted a close game. I believe I predicted Giants 20, Washington 19. Let me double check here. But by the way, please check out the whole video. But I predicted Giants 20, Washington 19. I think it's a really, 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 really good. I think it's a really, really, really good game. I think it's gonna be a low key good game between two teams I don't think are going to be very good this year. Can you use BetUS to bet on AR pass percentage under 50? That is fantastic. That is a fantastic question. I'm going to say no, but they have some really, really interesting bets that you can bet on for that game. So. Hold on here. Hold on. Let me. I'm looking through some. They have some really, really good bets. They don't have anything for that, which is an excellent bet. They have some really good bets though. Longest field goal in the game, shortest touchdown, total field goals, total touchdowns. First scoring play of the game. They have some really good quarters. They're not, the quarters bets are off, but they have some really good halves bets. Right now, the Colts are a 2.5-point favorite, but I know that would be BetUS doesn't. But I had some accounts with some other sites, and I think that there are some. There was one or two where there was one or two of them that there were some options to. For prop bets, I don't know if you can do that. BetUS doesn't. At least I'm not saying it, which is a damn shame because I really like the site. Of course, I'm associated with it. So, let me find out when he got injured here. Kenneth Walker. I want to pay attention because I'm pretty sure he's going to play. But he's listed as questionable. Here, I'm going to find out real fast for you. I'm going to BetUS, and the official word is All right, so I'm going to read. Noah Fan, Abraham Lucas. Okay, Abraham Lucas starting tackles on the pup list. He's not even on the injury report. Huh. I know he was questionable. I know he was questionable. BetUS doesn't even have him on there. This is interesting. So ESPN actually has him as doubtful, which is interesting because they have a questionable, doubtful, and out. He's not even on the BetUS, so I don't have status on the particular injury. But this is kind of a big one, so I didn't know. This just came out like an hour ago that he's doubtful for the game. So this is not a good sign. You may want to All right. Sorry about that, man. I guess StreamYard and my computer are ready for the weekend. So I don't know the specifics about it. It looks like he's doubtful. That's a big deal. I'm glad you brought that up. So if you have Kenneth Walker on your fantasy league, pay attention. ESPN has him listed as doubtful. BetUS doesn't even have him on the injury report, but it's a more detailed injury report. Keep paying attention about this. For a couple of you have brought up Kenneth Walker, who I think is a must play, but he's doubtful. Whoever was talking about Zach Charbonnet, you may want to pick him up. Keep an eye out on that for the next couple of days. Like I said, if you follow me on social media, you DM me today or tomorrow, I will get back to you. If you DM me on Sunday, I'm not even going to look at my phone until I'm not even going to look at my phone until I am ready. Until actually I won't look at my phone. I'll set an alarm because I'll be doing the Chiefs Bengals at 1:20. But after the game, I'll look at my phone. But it'll be a while. So the problems with the Browns is Watson. I understand why you say that, but I'm looking at the injury report, the offensive line. Yeah. Is it 3,600 total yards for Anthony Richard? Is this for Anthony? Is it? I would bet on. Remember, I told you to take under 3,500 for Caleb Williams. I took under 3,500 for Caleb Williams. I think that's an excellent bet, but I didn't have it for Anthony Richardson. Actually, I thought Anthony Richardson was something like 3,300, to tell you the truth. But if you can get Anthony Richardson passing yards under 3,600, I absolutely 100% take that. That's just a good bet. That's a good bet. 34 touchdowns. These are projected for Anthony Richardson? Okay. 34, that you definitely won't take under that. Definitely take under that. Guys, before I end the show, I want to thank everybody for making the first week of Afternoon Delight special and fun. A lot of you I'm seeing for the first time, and that's the whole point of the show is just try to meet new people and do my favorite thing in the world, and that's just talk football. I have that basis on the first game pace. Yeah, and he won't hit these numbers, Perry. He won't hit these numbers. I come out with a weekly picks video every Tuesday morning, and I do live play-by-play and reaction for all Chiefs games. There is a possibility I may do some Sunday night, Monday night games, but that's kind of up in the air right now. It's just Chiefs games. I have all my social media in the description below. Plus, if you want to go old school, you can always email me directly at dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for making the first week of Afternoon Delight successful and a lot of fun. And I hope you all join me Sunday, 4:20 Eastern, 1:20 Pacific for Chiefs and Bengals. Thanks, brothers. And I can't wait to see you all back. Hopefully, I'll see you all back on Sunday, but if not, I'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend.